अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let's chant the seventh mantra. Na antah pragyam, na bahish pragyam, no ubhayatah pragyam, na pragyanaganam, na pragyam, na pragyam, adrishtam, apyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, अचिन्त्यम अव्यपदेश्यम एकात्म प्रत्ययसारम प्रपंच उपशमम शांतं शिवम अद्वैतम चतुर्थम मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः। स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. So this Atma, which is to be known, is described very beautifully in the Kenopanishad. So as I mentioned to you that I think for those of you that have been studying several texts and have a good understanding of what we are talking about, a review of the Kenopanishad would be very beneficial to you, and you can actually consolidate a lot of your understanding from the other texts as well. So actually, since that I have said that, I will briefly review the Kenopanishad as a prelude to the seventh mantra, which we will resume. But this is all consistent. It's the same thing, but in a different way of looking at it, different viewpoint. But the point is the same. The viewpoint may be different, but the point is the same. Okay, so very briefly to give you the structure of the Kenopanishad, the first chapter is really Shravanam. This is the basics of what Advaita Vedanta is saying. It starts with the name of the Kenopanishad, this Kena. Kena means by whom. It's the third case, by whom. So here the Shishya, in a very advanced Shishya, I mean one who has really done some study, is asking the Guru, who is behind the workings of my body, my sense organs? Because I see a number of things going on, including my own desire, my accomplishments, all kinds of things. But it must be someone who is really so who's behind all that? This is the question. Kene shitam patati me preshitam manaha, kena pranaha pratama praiti yuktaha, kene shitam vacham imam vadanti, chakshu shotram kau devo yunakti. Is what deva is there to do that? So then the answer given is that really speaking, is you can see who's the person who is making all these things happen is the essence of making things happen come from this person. Shrotrasya shrotram mano mano manaso mano yat vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushascha chakshu atimuchya dhiraha pretya asmat loka amrita bhavanti. So a very introductory verse. This is what would be called an introduction, because the introduction and the summary also has to be all consistent. So so what he's saying is that, listen, the person who is behind everything that you are asking for is the one who makes everything work, and by itself it doesn't really change. This is the vastu, and this is the thing that you have to understand. And if you understand it, asmat lokat amrita bhavanti. He says that you'll become deathless if you knew that. So it is not, so here the phalam is also given. So this is, there's a big discussion about this in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, where the Purva Paksha says, knowledge, so this is a big discussion, and we'll also have that. Knowledge is a means to an end. That means you know something, and now you have to do something based on that knowledge. Here also there will be a big discussion on, after gaining Atma Vidya, you have to do something, because there's nothing happening. So by knowing something, nothing can happen. You got to utilize the knowledge to do something. This is what the Purva Paksha said. Here the assertion is very phenomenal. Just by knowing this person who is responsible for doing everything, you will become Amritam. So there the mahima of this entity is straight away pointed out. It's not useless as you think you are. And this is exactly what our situation is in life, that we don't, there's nothing that we can think about the Atma and so on. What I want to do is to be successful in life by accomplishing things. I want to do things, gain some money, some shreyas, some money. That's what it's all about. That's what everybody is doing. So just by knowing something, how can you really gain anything? Yeah, the knowledge can be an instrument for, just like if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a very accomplished specialist in something, Alzheimer's disease. So then you have to study a lot. You have to practice. So the jnanam is actually an anga. It's one of the instruments. It is one of the arms. It's a part of the main thing, which is accomplishment. So anyway, so the upakrama is, the beginning is that no, just by knowing that, you will gain everything that you wanted to do. This is the upakrama. Then after that, there is an explanation of this too a little bit. Na tatra chakshuhu gacchati, na vag gacchati, na manaha, na vidmaha, na vijanimaha, yatha etad anushishyat. So he says, okay, so the person says, okay, you talked about this person who is responsible for all the actions. How do I know it? How do I know it? Okay, you tell me. Okay, I'm interested. You've told me something very surprising. I didn't expect that. But anyway, I have Shraddha. So please tell me, how do I know it? So he starts by saying, so this is the neti iti adesha, na tatra chakshu gacchati. Say you won't be able to see it. Okay, then you can talk about it. Na vag gacchati. I cannot point it out and say, it's like this is a cell phone. You cannot say this is that person who is responsible for doing everything. And he says, na vidmaha na vijani maha, means nobody has seen it up to this point. Nobody has seen it, and why are you telling me this? Wait. Just follow my reasoning. Nobody has seen it. Nobody has ever seen it. It is not possible to see it. Not possible to see it? What are you telling me? No. Just wait. Not possible to see it the way you want to see. This is the thing. You're used to seeing things in a certain way. You employ your sense organs, your mind, and so on to actualize something that you are interested in. And sometimes there are scientific research about micro RNA that somebody just won a Nobel Prize for just this morning. Yeah, so you discover new facts about how things are working. That's fine. I can understand it. But you cannot say that nobody has ever known it, nobody knows it, and it's not possible to know it. Then what are you telling me? So he says, this is where the main Vakya starts with the fourth verse of the first chapter. He says, Anyat eva tad viditat aviditat atha aviditat adhi iti shushruma purvesham yenaha tas vyacha chakshire. So he says, this is the main one. He says, it is. It indeed is. It's not as though it's not there. It's not just when we say we nobody has seen it, nobody can see it. You can't. I'm not saying that it is not there, but so it says anyat eva. It indeed is. Otherwise you can say, yeah, you're right, it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that. He says, Anyat eva tat vidita. It is different from what is known or knowable. Okay, if it is different from what is known and knowable, then it must not be there. So he says, not only that, atha aviditat adhi. It is also different from what is not known or knowable, unknowable. Not known nor knowable. Not known nor unknowable. Because you have only two categories, what is to be known and what is not known. It is different from both the categories, but it is. He says, iti shushruma purvesham. Oh, this is all very interesting, important stuff, the way to look at it. And I remember studying this for the first time, and the Atma was not clear at that time. It was, I had Shraddha that it is there, but I didn't really have any clear understanding. So we also used to say, really? How is that possible? And you are just poring over the details of the Vakyas, looking at the Bhashya by Adi Shankara, and all those are Paroksha Jnanam. But once you begin to get an understanding, you'll say, of course, this is how I would say it too. This is how everybody has been saying that to us. That's what he's saying. The second line is interesting. Iti shushruma purvesham. He says before that, all the previous acharyas from beginning, from Krishna, from Rama, from everybody you can think of, Adi Shankara, they all said this is how we have heard. That it is different from knowable and different from unknowable, but it is. Then, in the next few verses, he makes sure that this is underscored, emphasized. How? So the verse number 5 says, Yat vacha anabhyutitam Yena vag abhyudyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Now he uses the word Brahma. I think for the first time. So Brahman is used as that thing, that vastu that you are inquiring about, by knowing which Amrita bhavanti, you will become by knowing which. So he's setting it up very interestingly. First of all, you said it cannot be known, and now you says tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. That is what you should know. Hey, you just told me that it cannot be known. Yeah, this is what we have to explain, how it is to be known. So here the known is not in the normal sense of looking, open your eyes and saying, oh, there's Brahma. No, not like that, but there is another way of looking at it. And this is what we are talking about. So he says, this is a repetition for several verses, and it all ends with na idam yad idam upasate. Na idam yad upasate. Number 6. Number 7. Na idam yad idam upasate. Number 8. Na idam upasate. Number 9. Yat pranena na praniti yena pranah praniyate tadeva brahmatvam vidhi na idam yad idam upasate. And that's how the chapter ends, with the refrain tadeva brahmatvam vidhi na idam yad idam upasate. Na idam yad idam upasate. So for the second line, the refrain is also very important, and it says that you can think of this as Ishvara, Paramatma. And you are looking at this Ishvara. You understood my saying, Anyadev tad viditat atha aviditadadhi. So, this is exactly how people take these things, which is, okay, you're telling me I cannot see it the way others see it, because others are looking for specific things. And you're saying that that's not how it is. Okay, I understand it. And you're also saying that it's not unknowable either. It is. Okay, I can get it. So you know what the other possibility is? It is some Ishvara who is making things happen. Because he is Sarva Shaktiman, Sarva Vyapi, and Sarvagyaha. He is all powerful. He is all knowledge. This is how we postulate Ishvara, and we should. Ishvara is really like that, no doubt. So you know what? I think that must be somebody. So what I need to do is to do upasana. this is a huge topic of how does Upasana help you in doing it. But in a very short order, because we are taking a rather quick view of this, what it means is that you, number one, look upon that Paramatma, that Ishvara, is different from you. I don't see him around here, so I'm just going to close my eyes and just pray and do some chanting. And if some Pandita at the local temple can tell me how to do chanting and how to do Upasana for Ishtadevata, Yajnas and so on, that'll be even better. I submit myself to it because it's been going on for a number of years, and the same Veda that talks about Vedanta also blesses Karma Kanda. So I'm just going to follow Karma and Upasana, and I'm going to pray, and hopefully Ishvara will become very happy with me and will reveal himself different from me. So this is what is reflecting. He says, Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi na idam yad idam upasate. This way of doing upasana, prayers, I'm sorry to say you're not going to find Brahma. So this is how the second, the rest of the first chapter occurs, and this is how the first chapter ends with, I believe, the ninth mantra. Yat pranena praniti, etc., ending with na idam yat idam upasate. Now the second chapter starts with mananam. And really it is your mananam which delivers the goods. Mananam is the one that transforms paroksha jnanam into aparoksha jnanam. Because something has been told, and my first reaction is, okay, I understand it's around here somewhere, but it must be different from me. Because everybody feels that it's not me. What have I got to do with it? I'm a small, relatively miserable guy. And I want to be different, as we were discussing. Bhavati Bhavasagara. I want to be different. It's not acceptable to me to be as I am. I want to be something different. How do I do that? Maybe Upasana will help. Karma will help, or Upasana will help. But they say, no, it won't help. It won't help, so then what do I do? So he says, at least I have some Shraddha towards Ishvara, towards Paramatma, and I feel good about it too. When I go to the temple, I feel very, very calm. All these problems of the world seem to disappear, and I feel this is the right thing to do. And it's also supported by the local priest, other people who are also praying. It sounds very good to me. So this is what I was doing. So I think I can see, this is exactly what happens. There are people, one of our students was saying that she had gone to Rishikesh and then gone on a trek up from there. And she went to the Vasishta Guha. And she felt something special. She felt very fulfilled and calm, as though there is a presence of someone. So, for these kinds of experiences and other experiences like that, you feel, I think I'm doing the right thing. Let me keep on doing pilgrimages. Let me understand Mahabharata. Let me, if somebody can give me meanings, that'll be even better. but I can read the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm just doing the right thing. So I'll find this Brahma somewhere. So and I think it is possible to find Brahma. It is very, and so I'm on my way. I have Shraddha. I don't see it very clearly yet, but I have a feeling that if I just keep on acting, I'll be okay. So now the Mananam of the second chapter starts of Kena Upanishad. He says, no, not going to happen. So that's what he starts. He says, Yadi manyase suvedeti dahram eva api nunam tvam veta brahmano rupam. He says that if you look upon Brahma as sadhya, you are employing certain sadhana, and the sadhanas you are employing are bhakti, upasana, prayers, antaranga sadhana, bahiranga sadhana, amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, krankti, rarjavam, etc. All these sadhana, sadhana panchakam. Vedo nityam nidhi vidhiyatam tat udita karma vinishriyatam. Like that it has all these 5 ones. So this is the sadhana. Sadhana for what? For accomplishing what needs to be accomplished. Sadhya. And the sadhya that I am accomplishing, which is some kind of a support of Ishvara and so on, is different from me. I'm just miserable, but I can approach non-miserability, Purnatvam, by doing upasana. So this is the belief. This is the Shraddha. So he says, Yadi manyase suvediti dahram eva iti nunam tvam veta. He says, if you think you know Brahma that way, I'm sorry to tell you, your understanding is very rudimentary, almost like a mistake. Nunam tvam veta. It is very. It's very little. Hardly know anything. No. So you're admonishing the person, and then he says, so in the last words also, Mimamsyam evate manye viditam. So there's a lot in this first verse. Yadasya tvam yadasya deveshu athanu mimamsyam eva. Mimamsyam means it needs more investigation, more vichara. You're not done yet. Don't stop at that point. It's like, you declare victory too soon. Or you're going somewhere and he says, I think this is where I was supposed to be and I'll just stay here. That's not the final goal. So you have to keep going. So mimamsyam eva. And there is more discussion about how that is the case. Then at the end of that, he says, Viditam. Now he says, you first of all said Anyadeva Viditam. Now you're saying, okay, I think I know. But this Viditam, is different from the other Viditam. Because this Viditam is after Vichara, after self-analysis, investigation. It's not just casually just doing it, but to really look at this is called Mimamsa. So he says, now this is very interesting. The Shishya has to convince the Guru that I think I know it. And the Guru is saying, really? You didn't understand that first. He says, but now that I've done Mimamsa, I think I'm okay. So then there's a very interesting expression by the Shishya on how this understanding is different from the normal way that people look at it. So he has to express himself. He has to express himself in a language that the Guru will say, yep, you got it. So number 2 and number 3 verses do that. He says, it's very confusing. Very confusing at first until you get into the understanding of the words and the meaning of the words. Then you say, yes, this is right. So in number 2 he says, Na aham manye suvedeti. No na veda iti veda cha. Yo naha tadveda, no naha veda iti veda cha. This is a play on words, Sanskritam. It will take a long time for us to decipher all that. But let me just give you the English translation and then we will go forward. I do not think that I know Brahma well. This is the expression of the Shishya. To convince the Guru that I think I understand. Now I understand. After all my false starts and you're pointing out that I don't understand it well, then I do Mimamsa, but now I understand. How do I? He says, I don't think that I know Brahman well. Not that I do not know Brahman. I know and I don't know. Among us, the one who knows that statement, not that I do not know, I know, and I do not know, knows Brahman. This is, what was it? I just remember something that my dad used to say. What was it? He said, a woodcut. I have to remember that. It's a beautiful thing that my dad used to say. So woodcutter is sometimes in English called woodcut. A woodcut, something like that. This is something like that. It's very strange language. Not that I don't know, but I know. But those who feel that they don't know, yes, they know. And the ones that know really don't know. These are kind of languages that he is using. Then this is confirmed. This kind of a language is confirmed in the next verse. Yasya amatam tasya matam. Matam yasya na vedasaha. Avigyatam vijanatam vigyatam avijanata. So this is a little bit easier, but the meaning remains the same. Let me just say that. Brahman is known to him to whom it is not known. Very strange language. Brahman is known to him to whom it is not known. He to whom Brahman is known does not know. Brahman is not known to the wise, it is known to the ignorant. Really, I mean, if you parse all the language and make it consistent with the other mantras that came before it, here's what it means. And really, all the acharyas spend a lot of time explaining this. If you listen to Swami Viditatmananda, Swami Tattvavidananda ji, what Mahatmas were used to say that before that, Swami Dayanand ji, how they explain all this. This is very similar. This is very the same thing. So what they're saying is, the crux of it is, Anyadeva tad viditat aviditat adi. Please remember those. That's a very important. Means it is neither known in front of me, nor is it away from me. So this is the meaning of the three words that you should be very clear about. What is called pratyaksha and paroksha. And the third one is in a minute. But the way we look at things in our life, just to simplify and to consolidate everything that we have been doing, the way we look at everything in our life is, either it is known to us personally. We have an experience where I am, what am I doing, what my house is, who are the people here, telephones, cell phones, television, all those kinds of things are pratyaksha. They're very known to me, right? And then there is also a world which is paroksha. Not known to me, but if I want, I can make it pratyaksha. But right now it's paroksha. So all the storms that are going on, the ones that destroyed North Carolina and now what's threatening Tampa, this is not, if I don't watch television and if I don't look at news or anything, it is unknown to me. But I know it's there somewhere. The whole world, there's so much happening. There's wars going on. There's conflicts. There's natural problems, people problems. All kinds of things are happening, but not in front of me. This is what is called paroksha. So my entire life consists of either pratyaksha or paroksha. Pratyaksha or paroksha. Only that. And what is paroksha can become pratyaksha, and what is pratyaksha can become paroksha. They go back and forth between them. And my entire life, for everyone, not just for me, but for everyone, is just spent between these two entities, pratyaksha and paroksha. Then there is another entity which is called Anyadeva Tad Vidita. So Vidita can be also looked upon as pratyaksha, and avidita can be looked upon as paroksha. And that's all it is. But he says, no. There is another entity. That entity in Vedanta Shastra has the most beautiful definition and words, because in conjunction with the language, which is Sanskritam, Vedanta Shastra is extremely precise. There's a certain precision about it which is amazing. This is why it is called Vidya, knowledge. It is not philosophy. Because philosophy has a component of saying, we think this is the way it is, but you know what? We're not absolutely positive. So when you see something right in front of it, now supposing you're looking at this cell phone. Is this a philosophy that you're looking at the cell phone? It's not a philosophy. Anyway, even if the cell phone was not visible, it's there hidden somewhere. It's not a philosophy. It's either paroksha or pratyaksha. It's vidya. You know it. So similarly here, there is a very precise word used for something which is other than vidita and other than avidita, which is aparoksha. Aparoksha. Beautiful word. Paroksha means not, it is here, but not paroksha. What can that be? It is you, the Atma. So you are neither pratyaksha, you are neither vidita, you are not paroksha, not avidita, anyadeva tam brahma tadvid. You should see yourself. And this self, as we will see this in more clarity as we go forward, is not away from you. I mean, just think about that. Can you be away from yourself ever? It's a very interesting thing, in this. That's why some of these examples in Vedanta are so carefully constructed and kept in the annals of the teaching that you cannot come up with a better example in order to drive home the point. So I'll discuss this in more detail in the next weekend's retreat. But this 10th man example is just absolutely so appropriate for this thing. So the self can never be paroksha. When you are, just look at the stupidity of even saying that. Can you be different? Can you be away from yourself? And even to construct that language just sounds so funny. You can say that my car was away from me. I could not find the car. My keys were away from me. My telephone, cell phone. Very beautiful and very interesting episode that happened about 2 weeks ago. I'll wait for the retreat to talk about that in more detail. So anything that you possess can be away from you. It can either be pratyaksha or it can be paroksha, right? But can you ever be paroksha? You, yes. Just think about that. It's not possible. But you know what? It is possible for you to think you are not there. Silly as it sounds, something about you that you are completely ignoring. So this is pointed out very well in the 10th person example, which you know very well. The story is that in the 10th, there were 10 boys, young boys, who were looking for permission from their guru to please take a dip into this river, which was a mountainous river with rapid flow. And they're saying we are all good swimmers and we'll be very careful. And so the guru was really not happy about it. He says, "Why, I'm just busy with doing some things and I cannot do that. So one of the senior people, the boys, who's about 17, 18 or so whatever, he says, "Sir, I will take the responsibility of keeping an eye on everybody, all 10 of us. You please trust me." So reluctantly, the guru said, "Okay, go, but be very careful because it's, springtime and there's a lot of water flowing. There are a lot of accidents, and I don't want you to be careless because your parents have entrusted them to me, and I have a lot of responsibility. It's very important, life." All these things he said, and the person was a little worried, but he says, "No, I can handle it." So they all went there and were dancing around, playing, throwing water at each other and having fun. And then after about an hour or so, he decided, okay, I think enough is enough. Let's gather ourselves. So he started counting everybody, and he counted only 9 people. And so he said, maybe I made a mistake. So he counted them again. It's still only 9. And now I think he began to have doubts whether we lost a person. And the funny part is they don't even know who they lost. So they said, "Have you seen anybody?" And he says, no, nobody. But there's only 9 people. So then there is a wise person who just happened to be passing by. And by that time, the panic and shoka, all the dukkha, had really spread to the point where they were really very worried and in shock, because to lose a 10th person, especially when they had been entrusted to do that, was a very big deal. So they were all crying, and especially this guy who was responsible, he was beset himself with grief. And he says, "I don't know how I can face the guru. Maybe I should just commit suicide. It was such a big mistake on my part. There were 10 of us and now there's only 9. So this wise guru-like guy who was passing by, he was saying, "What is the problem?" He says, "Sir, we think we've lost a person." He says, "You've lost a person? How?" He says, "There were 10 of us and now there's only 9. Very quietly counted them. And he said, "Really? Is that your problem?" He says, "Well, what do you mean that's a big problem?" He said, "You know what? I'll solve the problem." So he asked them to, this was an important part of the whole thing. He said, "Okay, just come out of the river, all stand here in a single file. All single file, okay?" This person is saying, "Here we are. You lost a person. He's asking us to do all these kind of things." He says, "Just wait. I found it. I found the person." So then he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then he says, "You are the 10th person. You did not count yourself." So there's so many results from so many implications of this story. So here, the one implication is that Jnanam alone solved his dukkha, his shoka. Jnanam. He didn't have to do anything. In fact, the more that he does, the less he will find the person. So this is number one. The second and the really even a more important thing, there's no more important or less important, is the fact how can a person get into a problem by misunderstanding himself. This is the thing. So there is something about ourselves that we forget to count, forget to take into account. I think that's a better way. It's like when you take an inventory, if you do not take into account one important thing, you're really putting yourself in a severe disadvantage because you have not done a good job of fully accounting for everything. So in this 10th man example, this is what happens. How it happened is another matter altogether. See, actually, he had never been a 10th person. It's not as though this is probably the first time they all went out swimming. There might have been 2 or 3 people at one time, but now there was quite a few of them. There were 10 of them. So already the worry was, am I going to be able to keep track of everybody? So all of that was new to him. And so the idea that he's the 10th person had never occurred before. He had never known this. So you know what the reason I'm pointing that out is, so similarly, it's not as though you knew the Atma, but now you have forgotten it. It's not like that. You've never known the Atma. Never known the Atma. He never knew that he was a 10th person. The situation was such where he was looking for it and he made a mistake, and that mistake cost him dearly because he was ready to commit suicide. He was that sorrowful. So similarly here, there is one thing about myself that makes me incomplete. Makes me incomplete. And if I understand that, I am complete. Purna, Purnatam, Purnamada, Purnamidam. If I understand. If I don't understand it, forget about Purnam. That's an alien word that I don't understand. I only have a Purnata, incompleteness all my life, by just missing one thing. So we end the story. This is what I started with. It is that very interesting. Look at this. Was the 10th person Paroksha or Aparoksha? As we said, the 10th person was always Aparoksha. It's not as though something got produced that was not there before. It was already there. But because of a jnanam, because of a mistake, because of ignorance, the aparokshata was not recognized. So it became paroksha. Isn't that a beautiful thing? So the 10th person was imagined to be somewhere else. You see, look at this. Look at the beauty of this particular example. The 10th person never went anywhere, has always been there. Aparoksha, nitya aparoksha. But paroksha manyante. It is considered to be paroksha. This is our situation. The Atma is aparoksha. Always has been. You have always been paroksha. You have always been aparoksha. You can never be aparoksha, not aparoksha. You can never be paroksha. Not possible to be away from you. Is it? How ridiculous even a statement that I can be different from me. But guess what? Despite my nityata, the constancy of aparoksha, my gosh, how I imagine myself to be. I am happy for the time being, unhappy. And as the first verse of all these, anyway, let's not go into the detail of that. I imagine myself in different places. I was there, then I did this. I imagine myself to be paroksha. So this is what is called Brahma. Brahma means that I have this strange thought that I don't know what's going to happen to me. Hey, what is going to happen to you? You're here right now. I know, but that, what do you mean by I know by what? Yeah, but things are not well with me. This is all imagined stuff, as we will see. Nothing can ever happen to you because you're always aparoksha. That aparokshata is now brought out in the most. And we have done this in the previous. I think one of the courses I just did this in the fourth verse, and I had even that time had pointed out. But in the context of this parokshata and aparokshata, hopefully this is something fresh for you. Fourth verse. Pratibodha viditam matam. Amritatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam. Vidyaya vindate mritam. Commit this mantra to your heart. And as you understand, you will see how it brings out the clarity of this with yourself. And another thing that is to make this thing very clear is the very important word and the meaning of that word that we should really understand. It is called avyakta. Sri Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita, Avyakto hamachintyoyam. Beautiful word, very important word, not just beautiful. Amazingly important word. We need to really think about it and meditate on it and understand the avyaktatvam. And couple that with this verse, Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate. So what he's saying is, in short, first of all, the self is never manifest, ever. You cannot. So this is all consistent with what has been pointing out. It can. See, this is our problem. This is our issue. I'm looking for myself as something visible that I can confirm. There's a lot that is behind all this, and we'll have to complete it if it's not complete. But what it is saying is two things. One is avyakta. Avyakta means, you know what avyakta means here? It means it is never pratyaksha. Of course, it is not paroksha. You can never be paroksha. You see, how do you distinguish between these three words with pratyaksha, paroksha, and aparoksha? So, the self can never be paroksha. Means it is never away. The self can never be away from the self. Even to say things like that, it's just amazing. So that's very obvious. Then he says, okay, if it is not paroksha, then it must be pratyaksha. So this is what our issue in life is. I tell you, it's a very big issue. Because I want to experience myself. Just like Swami Dayanand used to say that, I remember this so well. He says, do you think the self is a mango? Have you ever had, somebody can say, wow. The other day talking about mangoes, my wife is a connoisseur of mangoes. And furthermore, we have 4 grandkids, 3 of them are, one is the 1-year-old, just a kid. He's very fond of mangoes. You give him some papayas, you give him some cantaloupes and so on, he'll say no. We give him mangoes, he can eat any number of mangoes. You cannot believe how much work my wife does to find good mangoes. She goes from shop to shop. The other day it was very interesting. Where were we? We were in Milpitas. I think we had gone somewhere in Milpitas. And as we were coming out, my wife said, isn't there a Indian shop here, which, very close to Jain temple? If you remember, there was a New India Bazaar. So I said, yeah. She says, can we please stop there because the mangoes are not easily available? I said, sure. So we went to get that. And she got some mangoes and they were really not that expensive and so on. She got home. She says, oh my God, these are the best mangoes that I have had ever in the US. They are as good as Indian. They were not Indian mangoes. They were, I mean, they might have gotten them from them, but I think they were Mexican mangoes. But we never really had such good mangoes. She said, oh my goodness. It was, and she made me taste some and really tasted just like Indian mangoes. So mango. So I mean, the Anandji used to say, is the Atma like a mango? That you have an experience? But you know, funny as it sounds, that's exactly what our problem in life is. Because anytime we have a good experience, like eating a good mango, we are happy. So somehow we feel that my connection to something pleasant is what I really seek. Is what I'm thinking all my life. So another way to state that is that you're looking for some expression of yourself that is very pleasant. Vedanta says, wait. Do you know the Atma is never unpleasant? It's just that you have never understood it the way it should be done. It is something that makes everything complete. Like the 10th person, it makes everybody happy just by understanding what was missing behind me. So here, just a very short time, this is a very important verse. He says, Pratibodha viditam matam. He says, bodham prati viditam. You cannot be the person who is not there in anything that you see. Any experience that you see, you are there. Pleasant experience also, it is not possible without you. Unpleasant experience also, it is not possible without you. It takes its existence from you. But because you have never really understood the avyakta and never understood the nityata, that you're always there, Satsvarupa, all these things have to be brought in. You deceive yourself and say, I'm lost. I'm not the 10th person. So, this verse points out, obviously I'm just summarizing it, points out the fact that nothing is possible without you. This is how important you are. You don't understand it, my dear. You are an independent person, and all the things that you see. So therefore, in the teaching of the 7th verse also, don't look for a different experience. Look for any experience. Is it without you? So we will resume now that I've taken a rather lengthy explanation of the Kena Upanishad as an adjunct to this understanding. I will complete that part and resume the unfolding of the 7th mantra next time we meet, I think. And the next time we meet will be 2 weeks from today on the let's see, is it 2 weeks from today? So we are not going to have, yeah, 2 weeks. That's right. So 2 weeks from today, we won't have a next Tuesday class. We will not have a next Saturday class. I will send this out in the WhatsApp because of the retreat. And the next Tuesday will be 2 weeks from today. But of course, we will start the seventh mantra in the Saturday after the next Saturday. Because one Saturday we are going to miss because of the retreat. And the following Saturday we will start with this resumption of the seventh mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Yeah, that's exactly right, Jaya. How much wood could a woodcut cook? Woodchuck chuck, woodchuck could chuck wood. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. Keshav, my apologies. I really mixed up the Saturday and Sunday. I thought it was on Sunday, and when you called, my class was ready to start. So my apologies. And anyway, I'll talk to you, and then I would like to find out how it went, and we'll see. All right. Um, and for those of you that are not here and are not attending the retreat, I'll send you a WhatsApp message about getting a copy of the handout, so that I'll send it to you later. Okay, very good. We'll see you later. Bye bye. Hari Om.